Welcome back, everyone, to Tarot Journeys with Guy. How's everybody doing out there? So now we see it all out into the open. We get to see Kamala Harris's economic policy and two things: how she's basically lying and how she and her administration, if they get voted in, will basically institute a sort of woke communism, a free-for-all, if you will, with Soviet-style price fixing and handouts here and handouts there and handouts for everybody except for the American people. Now, it's pretty interesting, right? So a huge gaslighting operation, basically trying to convince people of this person. The other thing that she's been doing is mimicking the Trump campaign and some of the things that Trump's going to follow through with. So it's interesting, and also lying about poll numbers and her popularity. And as we speak, Trump's numbers just keep going up and up and up. So since the last time we sat last week, 6 days ago, I guess, or 6 or 7 days ago, it's been this kind of information onslaught and this projection onto the American people about the nature of President Trump and what's going to happen. And they're talking about him being prepared for Rikers Island once he's sentenced, actually, in September. So, right, another part of their smear campaign. And to me, it's so obvious that the deep state is just almost completely run aground, okay? Now, this kind of coup scenario with Kamala and her VP pick and, taking over and basically kicking out Biden, and them coming out into the open and basically admitting this is just absolute craziness. Yeah, we see this in Venezuela and China and when the Soviet Union was around and any kind of dictatorship. Yeah, very obvious. The globalist deep state, they're basically the people that they've propped up, they're putting them into full gear. I mean, it's what we see with the UK and the draconian measures that are being placed. People being imprisoned for posting online and posting anti-establishment and harmful speech, okay? It's very dictatorial, it's very Soviet style, it's very communist, right? And goes in line with the whole Great Reset. You will own nothing and be happy, okay? And this is what these people want to create. We saw President Trump and Elon Musk do a very huge interview, almost like a fireside chat. Got 1 billion views, okay? So this was a huge thing. And then the mainstream leftist media all over the world smearing this. The EU and the UK tried to prevent it from happening, okay? And then in the same breath, both the EU and the UK went after Elon Musk, and there's been a kind of a fight back and forth and a tit for tat. And I mean, I think what we'll see is the EU and the UK reeling back a little bit from some of the rhetoric, because they're being called out. Like all of these dictators, it's like they're engaging all of the petty tyrants all at once, okay? The battle for free speech is on, and it's huge. I mean, they're trying to quiet any kind of dissenting voice, any voice that goes against their narrative, okay? So then the other thing, the head of the WHO, World Health Organization, came out, monkeypox emergency, so they're, attempting to scare the people with another, so-called virus that they, manufactured, potentially. But it's all just fear tactics. It's all just to kind of keep us scrambling and sort of not looking at what's actually going on. We also saw something interesting with, Ukraine, where NATO-backed troops, NATO-equipped Ukrainian troops invaded Russia into the Kursk area, in that Kursk region. And if people know their World War II history, the Kursk offensive towards the end of World War II spelled the the true beginning of the end of the Nazi regime. Okay, Kursk was the beginning of the end for them. Okay, and after the Kursk offensive from the Soviet side and crushing the German army, they went into a massive retreat all the way to Berlin and lost. Okay, so it's another interesting thing, right? It's like their final gamble almost. They're trying to perpetuate, but yet it's just another chess move in their attempt to create the forever war. Okay, that's something that we've been trying to keep people abreast on, I guess, keep people sort of tuned into. Definitely all of the signs are there for us hitting this sort of end game scenario, okay? And one of the last refuges of, or one of the last attacks of these tyrants, the first attack and the last attack is on people's ability to speak. So it's very important for people to not get kowtowed and to be afraid and to get sort of sucked back into like where we were with COVID, because that's what they want. They want us silenced so they can implement their measures. And you rest assured, all of this is on purpose. It's all part of a bigger game plan that these globalist interests have in, it's part of a game plan that we've been talking about, and many of us online. This is what's kind of keeping everything going. That's kind of what's this discourse, okay? That's why they're not able to get away with it, right? So people have to have the courage to speak out where they can, and to do the research and to share the information, and not to be afraid to be called a racist and far right and all of the different isms that these communist types utilize, and they need to be called out for what they really are, which is tyrants and communists in a lot of ways, right? Dictators, right? Death cultists. Okay, so let's jump into this. So what do we need to be prepared for in the next few days? What's coming up? This is kind of, I guess, a little bit of a spiritual check-in too for us. What do we need to know? What kind of guidance? A little bit of the usual, but it's kind of a check-in, right? We need to get prepared. Yet again, another scenario where there's a little bit of a lull in the forward motion of things, okay? And so that there is going to be another event coming up. Next couple of days, next week, I mean, you can almost count on it, okay? That's the thing. That's the thing that we're looking at. That's what we're going to be looking at all the way up until the 2024 presidential election, and even beyond, even into January. And it's going to take some time. It really is. I mean, basically what you are seeing all over the world is these guys, especially in the Western world where the globalists have entrenched themselves, is where they're digging in, they are losing the most. But this is where they present the most danger, and they might get away with ingraining themselves further and getting away with implementing some of these plans. Okay, let's see, what do we need to know? Yeah, what's next on the horizon in the next couple of days? What do we need to sort of pay attention to, and what kind of guidance will help us navigate these times? What's so interesting is how, like, for instance, with Kamala Harris and the Democrats in these deep states and the rhinos, essentially too, but especially with Kamala, when she comes out with this, her economic communist plan to basically continue to attempt to shut down and to create like a socialist United States, that only shines a light on the truth that President Trump has been trying to present to people. Okay, and it just goes to show like how ahead of the game in some ways he is, right? I mean, but the thing is like it only adds to his trust factor. People have no trust, right? And in some ways, what President Trump is really there to do is to help restore trust in the whole process, in our leaders, in the United States, in our country. I'm calling it my country now, I guess. But like in, that we can go forward and some of the things that our Western countries were founded on, like the rule of law, can be trusted when the corruption has been weeded out, when the right people are put into places of authority and policy making. Now, a lot of it is policy, clear and simple. So, yeah, and that's kind of one thing. It's so funny. People are like thinking back, like it's so like yeah, it's so funny. They don't remember. They only remember the good times when the times are bad. Okay, so when the times were good during the Trump era, like some of the people that really were on Trump's side kind of didn't see how good things were, but things have rapidly have gotten worse. Okay, this thing where we in the Western world need to open up and help every single nation, every single person, that doesn't resonate with every single person within the Western world. Like, I mean, we are all not guilty in creating the corruption, okay? And that's part of this, we're freeing ourselves from that sort of, that thing. It's almost like a karma, right? You know, the open borders thing, it's so funny. Now people are actually saying like this immigration scenario is almost top of the list. Now, one thing that people have to sort of realize that there is a difference between the UN migration policy and the UN migration in general, just the term, versus immigration. And the United Nations and these globalists have been trying to change the legal definitions of these terms, right? So as when they bring in all of these people, it isn't illegal, okay? But it is part of a United Nations migration project, a plan, part of their Great Reset, part of this thing of, essentially replacing the people. And I mean, is it just that? I don't know if it's just that, but it has a lot to do with it, okay? It has a lot to do with these petty tyrants are no longer having sway over people. We're no longer their slaves. So they're bringing in all of these people that they can utilize. That's really just as simple as it can be put. So when these people speak, especially like this Kamala character, right, it just gives credence to what Trump is kind of pushing. Yeah, like the next blitz of, you know, climate crisis, pandemic, threats to democracy. Those are the things like with the 7 of cups in the future under the Wheel of Fortune. This is what they're trying to sort of pushing different events, a global war, right? There's 7 things here that they keep trying to push that, you know, that's what we got to be sort of on the guard for. Like, for instance, like Kamala Harris basically lying, like basically openly lying, and people calling her out. Now, this is what we have to do all over the world. This isn't something that needs to be done just in the United States. The United States is definitely a big sort of part of the freedom impulse right now. They're, you know, sort of justifying the falling of everything to these false and staged events and these notions that are hiding these globalist policies that are designed to depopulate, deindustrialize, basically shut down human civilization, okay? You know, trying to hook the kids with free stuff and then not educating them how things come into being so that they think that things come free, right? It's that simple. You know, trying to sort of hook them with, you know, debt forgiveness, free loans for school, for houses, for, you know, like this idea, where is this money coming from, right? This is what we have to be asking, but this is what we need to be calling out. Yeah, and it's time to sort of recognize there is a really strong vocal youth, like there's a youth segment that is growing, that is countering this indoctrinated woke part of the Western world. There's a lot of young people that don't necessarily toe this kind of woke agenda at all, right? And and they're being sort of, now we're trying to get them to come out and speak up more, trying to get them to become more visible, okay? Try to get them to become more active within the politic, okay? Because it's necessary. It's necessary. If they don't get involved, there's not much of a future for them or for any of us, right? So that's a big part of it, right? So you're going to see this, there is this tug of war for that kind of, that, you know, within the younger generations. I mean, we're talking voting age as well, but sort of pulling on them, right? But yeah, getting young kids getting vocal. See, that was funny. President Trump too, he was out doing live streams, and there was this video with him golfing with some golf pro, some younger dude, and he was on some stream with, I can't remember his name. But yeah, just kind of, you know, bringing it to the younger generation is super necessary. She's caught, Kamala Harris is caught. They push to see how much they can get away with. That's what we're seeing in the UK right now. That's all that is they're just pushing and pushing and pushing to see how much they can get away with, to see who, right? And like, once the violence has been triggered, once that is activated, then they clamp down, right? But they want to see how far they can get away with it. And same thing like with her pushing policy. Yeah, I don't know if she's going to be the nominee. I have a feeling like somebody else. I also heard that Joe Biden is not done with this. In fact, isn't happy. He got pushed out, okay, as part of that coup, right? And so we'll see. I have a feeling that because man, every head is reeling. Every business, as soon as she started talking about price fixing, they all just kind of went, what? Most people in the Western world should be alarmed. Anybody that has a sense within their mind about economics in any way should know that's not how economics work. That's a good way to create shortages. It's a good way to shut down your economy. That's the purpose. That's the point. So yeah, a lot of smoke and mirrors. I mean, that's kind of what we're expecting, right? We got Trump totally going out on the right on the campaign trail, and we just see a lot of countering the narrative that's being thrown out. So good on the people that are out there and staying in touch with, you know, moment to moment with what's going on in the world, and then relaying that, because it's having an effect, right? I know the UK and Ireland is, you can't get any information on Ireland. I wonder why. That's right, because people have had enough and they're basically rebelling there. And people need to question it. They need to question why are you bringing in so many people, and why, you know, into our countries and leaving us short, and we pay for it. So should we be paying for this anymore? No, we shouldn't. And to top it off, you're bringing in, like in the UK, you're bringing in a group that is anti-Christian, that has a sort of idea in their mind, or is part of the precept of their culture, of the religion, to take over. The meaning of the word means to submit, the name of the religion, right? So they're doing it on purpose. And, you know, people need to sort of recognize that. They need to call it out for what it is. Okay, one more little piece of guidance here. So twice the Wheel of Fortune has come up reversed, okay? Wheel of Fortune. Now, Wheel of Fortune is an interesting card because it does teach us the lesson of the wheel, the lesson of karma, okay? But it's also the greater turning of things, and how, in a lot of ways, we don't, it's not us that's turning the wheel, right? Like that's kind of, I guess that's part of the lesson that we have to sort of accept right now. Yeah, karma is definitely coming to these people. And that's one thing, like when you're witnessing somebody that is destroying themselves, I guess, is doing wrong. yeah, you don't want to get involved. You don't want to, you're going to kind of step back. And I think that's kind of what this is talking about, actually. Take a really good look at what's going on in the UK. That's what's coming to us here in Canada and what's coming to us in the United States if we don't call it out. They definitely want to do that. They want to destroy the religion. They want to destroy the capitalist system, okay? And they're going to do it no matter whatever which way that they can. And so, you know, there is an agenda. There is this conspiracy. There are people that have come together in the cloak of night over the long stretch of decades to implement this and to sort of perpetuate this, right? Yeah, the other thing too from the past, right? It's like these guys, the kings of our world, the hierophants of our world, they have no sway over us anymore. And like them trying to push out another pandemic, it's not. They're going to have to be totalitarian about it way more than what they were, like what we're seeing in the UK, because it's not going to work. People are too wise. They know what happened in the past. They know a lot of us have had people have died because of, you know, not the disease, not the virus, right? And we know what, and a lot of us got burnt from the mandates, and a lot of us got fired, and a lot of us took a hit and got sacrificed and were censored. And so we understand, we know. So we can't fall into that again, right? That's such a huge thing. That's why war keeps popping up, right? Because the pandemic it's not going to work, right? It's just not going to work. Yeah, it's just not going to work, right? People kind of understand. They understand a lot more. There's a lot more wisdom in the world. Like that's what happens with people. Through experience, we become wiser, right? And that's one thing is they don't want us to they don't want us to see how the people truly are winning. The people really are winning, and that they are losing. And that's part of that whole massive gaslighting operation that basically is, you know, trying to cover up the tracks of the deep state, you know. But there's been an activation, right? That's how I see the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is this activation, this energy, the fire of life, the light of divinity within us has been activated, right? And so it can't be extinguished, you know, and that's something we have, you know, I guess that's where we sort of draw our energy from and draw our guidance from, right? When we're confronted with these things in the world, we ask within, right? And you know, just like it says, we will be given the answers, you know. So we can't kind of let the fear factory overshadow a lot of the like positive things that are moving forward in the world, right? That's part of it, that fear projection, the woke mind virus, the mind virus. That's something that people have to sort of be attentive to when you're in dealing with people in the everyday world. That's how it's generated. That's how it's passed on. And people, if you pay attention how people communicate about some of this stuff, it is based, there is a vibration of fear under all of it. And we can't allow it to sort of get to us, right? We have to transmute that energy and project the opposite out, actually. And I guess the opposite is love, is the strength and courage of conviction, freedom, truth, right? So we're coming along. Remember, we're winning, and don't let them gaslight you into believing otherwise, even no matter what it may seem, right? The deep state are truly panicking, and the people will prevail eventually. Okay, that's it for today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. So make sure you hit the like button and please subscribe. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.